ChatGPT has a brand new feature that can anticipate your needs, basically like a proactive assistant, but it's only limited to Pro plans. Plus, we're covering a whole bunch of other stories, a lot of AI-related news today, including a new AI model from Google that could help enable general-purpose robots on New Tech Nightly. Recorded tape to live from the Big Pink Building in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. Let's jump into the news. OpenAI has launched ChatGPT Pulse, a new feature that proactively provides users with daily personalized updates, shifting ChatGPT from a reactive Q&A tool to an AI assistant that takes initiative. This feature autonomously researches topics based on your past chats, plus it can tap into your email and even your calendar, and then it presents info as swipeable cards each morning, a daily briefing tailored to you. It's launched today as a preview only for ChatGPT Pro subscribers that cost $200 a month, and it's only working in the mobile app. But they have plans to extend this feature to Plus users and eventually even free users. Users can opt in to connect to data sources like Gmail or their calendar, and OpenAI says that in the future, they'll have more data sources that will be able to be connected. In the launch, OpenAI highlighted how they really focused on steerability and personalization. You can train Pulse by giving feedback each day, telling it which suggestions are helpful or other topics you would be interested in, and then that will improve the next day's output. The feature keeps a persistent memory of your interests and context, aiming to understand your goals and help you reach them without requiring you to type in specific prompts. I was able to test this morning, and I was pretty impressed with my first briefing, but it will be interesting to see how quickly they can get this from being just a pro feature to a plus or a free feature, because that $200 monthly price tag is a big barrier to entry to get access to this type of capability. And getting this open to the $20 a month plus plan, I think is essential for adoption. And then also, how useful is this actually going to be? Presumably it's going to get better over time, but if this is a daily briefing that isn't providing value, users might quickly want to just ignore it altogether. So we'll have to see how the users that do have access to this react. AI music startup Suno has just launched a brand new model. They're calling it Suno V5, and they say it's their most advanced music model yet. The company claims V5 composes music with better structure and fidelity, and that it can produce natural and authentic vocals. The update is out in early access and only available right now for paying subscribers. Notably, this is launched just days after major record labels filed an amended lawsuit, because to be clear, Suno has already had several lawsuits against them, but this amended lawsuit accuses Suno of illegal stream ripping from YouTube to gather training data. So Suno has a lot to deal with right now, with Universal Music, Sony, and Warner coming after them. Now, Suno has not yet denied using copyrighted music for training data. They argue that this should fall under fair use if the AI-generated output doesn't infringe on specific recordings. Whether training is deemed as fair use or not, these amended lawsuits are basically saying, well, did you get this training data illegally in the first place? And in that case, it might be harder to defend. 11 Labs just launched an AI-generated music product offering that is based on licensed data. So we'll have to see how this shakes out and if Suno V5 is good enough to attract enough paying subscribers to handle all of these lawsuits. Sounds like a lot of lawyer fees coming up. Following up on OpenAI's $100 billion deal with NVIDIA, OpenAI has announced partnerships with Oracle and SoftBank for 5 new U.S. data center sites. OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman has openly said that compute is the limiting factor for AI progress, and they previously had committed $500 billion into 10 gigawatts of U.S. infrastructure over 4 years. For perspective, 10 gigawatts is roughly the output of 10 nuclear reactors, so that's a lot. So these new data center sites and partnerships show that OpenAI is serious about hitting that commitment. Right now, OpenAI is actually ahead of pace and even expects to exceed that $500 billion commitment. Apple is laying the groundwork to enable agentic AI on their devices. And the news today is that it's adopting the emerging MCP standard. That stands for Model Context Protocol, and it's an open standard for connecting AI systems with external data and tools. That's essential for agentic AI because, the definition of agentic AI is AI that can go off, autonomously reason, and then use tools by itself. MCP is the standard that allows that model to connect with other tools. And since it's an open standard, that means that this system could connect with the widest variety of tools possible, because any company can enable MCP to allow this interconnectivity. So in the latest developer betas of Apple's phone operating system, iOS 26, and its desktop operating system, macOS 26, code was discovered integrating MCP support into Apple's App Intent framework. Plain terms, that means future iPhone, iPad, and Mac apps could more easily hook into AI assistants, allowing AI agents to perform tasks across apps on your behalf half through this common MCP protocol. So a simple example of this might allow Siri to autonomously schedule meetings into your calendar or draft emails. An even more complex example is it might allow Siri to go off and create a design in a graphics app. But this also means it would be open beyond just Siri. This could also allow third-party AI assistants to take actions inside apps through this standardized pipeline. We've reported on the discussions around workslop, this idea that AI being integrated into companies is just causing employees to use AI to create work that's not even valuable, even though it looks polished. But Professor Ethan Mollick has highlighted some recent studies showing workers self-reported major productivity gains from using AI tools. In one survey, US knowledge workers said that AI helped them triple their productivity, turning what used to be 90-minute tasks into 30-minute ones. And a separate Danish study found that workers felt that AI cut their work in half for up to 41% of their tasks. In short, many employees feel that AI makes them faster and more effective at their jobs. So this really pushes back against the idea of work slop, but there's definitely a duality going on here because on one hand, it seems that individuals with a clear purpose can get things done with AI in less time. That is real and it's being measured. But on the other hand, when AI is being used lazily or without oversight, it can generate busy work by the bucket load, and that can absolutely drag everyone down. The lesson for businesses here is not just to tell people to use AI, it's so important to actually set quality standards and teach people how to use it. Without new norms and AI literacy training, there is absolutely a risk of turning productivity tools into productivity potholes. So while a lot of people are talking about work slop, and there is truth to that, there's a flip side that a lot of people are also benefiting from these tools as well. It's not as simple as this is just good or just bad, and everyone is kind of scrambling to figure this out right now. Ads in ChatGPT are on the table and looks like will be coming. There's already been reporting around how Sam Altman wants to find a tasteful way to introduce ads into ChatGPT, not mucking up the actual output, because if you put ads in the direct output, people will just not trust ChatGPT anymore. So he wants to find a way to do it thoughtfully, and this new reporting from Alex Heath's sources confirms that internally they are pushing forward on this initiative. In fact, right now they're on the hunt for a brand new hire that will oversee all of their monetization efforts. This job hunt is being led by Fiji Simo, OpenAI's new CEO of applications. Simo has already been meeting with potential candidates, and that even includes some of her former Facebook colleagues. But it should be noted that this new role overseeing monetization will also cover subscriptions in addition to ads. The way that they roll out ads will have to be done really thoughtfully so that users don't think that every output is just trying to sell them something. So it'll be interesting to see how they implement ads, but it seems like it's essential for the company because OpenAI has massive compute expenses right now. Running AI models at the scale that OpenAI does, 700 million users per week, that's not cheap at all. And yes, they do have their $200 a month pro plan, but not many people are paying that much money. They have a much cheaper $20 a month plan, and then most people honestly are just using the free plan. So finding a way to integrate ads in a thoughtful and tasteful way is kind of existential for the company. Google has launched an experimental AI image editing tool that they call Mixboard that leverages their much-hyped Nano Banana model. Mixboard lets users generate multiple images and then arrange them or even combine elements from different images in a freeform canvas. Google is positioning Mixboard as a creativity aid for things like interior design, fashion styling, or just playful ideation. And clearly they want to have a product that takes advantage of their Nano Banana model, which users seem to love for its ability to generate edits to any image and generate new images as well. It's interesting how fast Google will iterate on different products. Of course, they can integrate image generation into Google Slides, but they really wanted to come up with a brand new interface for working with an AI model that allows for editing. One of the coolest features of Mixboard is that you can click on two different images and then write a prompt that simply says, combine this texture into this other image, and then it will understand your instruction and just do what you've said. So it's a cool interface, but I definitely want to test it out a bit more. Alibaba has released WAN 2.5. Now, this is an AI video model that's the only model I can think of that actually competes with Google's VO3 model. And here's why. Google's VO3 model was one of the first mainstream models to introduce sound generation that's synced with the video. That means you can write a prompt that describes a scene and then even describe what someone in the scene is saying. And VO3 will generate that with the character saying exactly what you instructed. That was unique to VO3 because most AI video generation models would generate video without any sound at all. But now with WAN 2.5, you have the ability to do that same kind of audio-video combined prompting. And that is very powerful. It's kind of like moving out of the silent film era for AI video generation. Now, in my early tests, WAN 2.5 isn't quite as good at VO3 yet. I think VO3 is farther ahead with the consistency and the cohesiveness of the outputs. Both models are limited to only generating about 10-second clips, but with WAN 2.5, it seemed that the farther it got into those 10 seconds, the more the output would degrade, as opposed to VO3 that just does pretty well throughout the whole clip. Now, a lot of Alibaba's models, when they compete with the other dominant models, are open sourced, but this one is not open source quite yet. And it should be noted that it's the WAN 2.5 preview, so we'll have to see how that develops with WAN 2.5's official release. But one thing's for sure, WAN 2.5 is a lot cheaper than VO3. So even if it's not quite at the quality of VO3, it's still a pretty big advancement for AI video models. Google DeepMind has unveiled Gemini Robotics 1.5. So what is that? Well, it's a new suite of models from Google that aims to give robots more general purpose intelligence. This could allow robots to perform complex, multi-step tasks in the real world. This is being hailed as DeepMind's first thinking robotics AI models. So this means it could enable a robot to understand visual inputs and language instructions and then execute actions accordingly. So this can enable robots to actually achieve multi-step procedures, while previously many robots could only do one specific task per model. One interesting thing that Google found was that using this new model, skills learned by one robot can transfer to another robot with a totally different design. For example, they taught a task to a two-armed robot, and then that task just worked on another robot with a different number of arms. And that's all without additional training. So that means that this model can abstract things in a general way, not tied to just one robot's setup. This points to a future coming soon where there's a general robot intelligence that any type of robot body could use. Well, I guess here comes the general purpose helper robots. And enabled by this model, they could come in all different shapes, sizes, and designs. Before you go, if you're based in Portland, Oregon, and you're interested in hosting a technology news show, we'd like to expand this show to have multiple hosts and a more conversational feel. So if you want to be a part of this show, please reach out at hello@resonant.works. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.